Joe, Andrea was just telling me a story of when she heard the news about the passing of Henry Kissinger. I think we all took a moment to reflect when the news broke.
Well, so much to reflect on. As the New York Times said this morning, rightfully, he was a hugely significant figure in U.S. foreign policy and American politics. I had no idea. He was on the cover. And for those of us a little bit older, this actually used to mean something in a significant way. He was on the cover of Time magazine 15 times.
Wow.
And one of those times, David Ignatius did not make his boss, Richard Nixon, very happy. It was when Time called Nixon and Kissinger Men of the Year in 1972. But a very complex legacy, as well as, I must just say on a personal note, a very complicated relationship with Mika's father.
So, Joe, he did have a complicated relationship with Mika's dad. He and Zbigniew Brzezinski really were the two towering foreign policy intellectuals of their time. And a striking thing was that at the funeral of Zbigniew Brzezinski, John Hamre, the head of a think tank called the Center for Strategic and International Studies that Kissinger had been very close to, read a letter from Henry Kissinger in which he expressed deep regret that he'd never really said all the things of admiring and praiseworthy of Zbig that he had wanted to in his lifetime. It was a moment that I think everybody in the audience has never forgotten. It showed to me how complicated a person Kissinger was. He was struggling, striving as a young immigrant to make it in foreign policy with the patronage of the Rockefellers, other prominent people in America. He was a genuinely brilliant person who, in his first book, set forth the way he looked at the world. It was about stability. His model was the Congress of Vienna, if viewers can remember that, in 1815, which established peace in Europe for 100 years. And Kissinger was fascinated. How did that happen? He continued to be that diplomat, that balance of power player in the old European sense through his career. He did things we admire. He did some things that I think most people would think were just dreadful. Yeah. But such a complicated person.
Yeah. He really was, and it is a shame Mike Barnicle's not with us today because, of course, Mike covered the Congress of Vienna in 1815 for the Boston Globe. But we'll talk to Mike about that tomorrow. I'm sorry, Ann, it's just a joke. But we're going to talk much more, Mika, about Henry Kissinger's legacy. I will just say really quickly, your father and Dr. Kissinger, about as extreme rivals as you could be while working together. Just read Dr. Brzezinski's diaries to see that. And yet, very complex. He wept. John Hamre said when hearing of the news, and wrote a beautiful letter to your mother and your family. But we'll be talking about that legacy ahead. I'm sure you have thoughts.
Well, no, I just think I sort of, in my mind, celebrate the moments when they would get together on stage or around a table and they would spar in a joyful way over issues. Because, Willie, they both had a deep appreciation for the complexity of global issues like the ones we're facing today in Ukraine and trying to bring together NATO, and also, of course, the war in the Middle East, which is our top story this morning. Willie?